All right, seeing none. Any comments, suggestions, petitions by residents in attendance regarding items not on the agenda? All right, seeing none, let's move to the director's report.
There we go. We are anticipating the borough real estate taxes to go out next week. We did change some of the verbiage on that so that it will not be as confusing for our residents. We did include some good directions on the bottom for making payments online. I know last year there was a major issue with putting the last name information in there. So when you get a copy of the bill, you'll see that there's a portal access name on there that you'll need to put into the last name box, and there's instructions for all of that. And we also have a file that we will be sending out to any mortgage companies that reach out for people that pay through their escrow. So that will make it easier as well. And one other big highlight that I wanted to touch on is the rental permits that the finance department sent out in conjunction with building and housing. We sent out 760 unpaid rental permit letters for the years 2023 and 2024. Those were sent out in mid-January, and we gave property owners 10 days to make payment, which would have brought them up to February 1st. We have the total amount that was sent out was $75,882. As of today, we have collected $22,138. We still have quite a few emails that I'm going through trying to resolve any discrepancies and getting answers back to the property owners, but it is my goal to have any unpaid rental permits sent to citation by March 1st.
What's the process if they don't follow up after 10 days? And like even after that, like after the citation, do we revoke the rental license? Is it, I don't know if they still have a rental license that's just in arrears, or how does that work?
I don't think, if I may, if you don't mind, I don't think citation was the right word. It's a license that the borough issues. So the borough has the ability to suspend or revoke the license. So there's no violation or penalty.
There's no legal process for it. It's just you revoke. Okay, thank you.
So question from, I was trolling around Facebook today, and people are posting that they are trying to get to us to address these letters and pay us. So how are we making sure that those that are in earnest that are trying to get to us, and maybe just because of the volume of everything, we haven't gotten through everything in 10 days.
They did not come to my personal email. They went through the director of building housing, Sally Slook. And I know that she has quite a few emails that she has been forwarding on to my department. And we are, trying to get through those as quickly as possible. I know that they're most likely as a backlog on some of those emails. And again, we're not going to go through and just revoke anyone's licenses until we've gone through, due diligence and gone through every email. So we are trying to sort of wrap this process up. And it's not something that I'm going to let to continue to go on and on and on. So I want to have a deadline with this.
Do you recommend, because I don't tend to interact with like Facebook posts, but if I see one that says, I've been having trouble, do you recommend that I respond with your email?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Moving over to page 17, please.
Sorry, I had one more question about that. Do we have any other way of reaching some of the, we have email, we have addresses, we have emails, but I know that a lot of the landlords don't actually live in town. So that could be one of the reasons why we're not receiving, after 10 days, a response. I didn't know if we had like a backup for whatever communication method. It's mostly email, I'm assuming, that we're sending.
So the original letters we did mail out, they did go through the mail. And then the letter that went with the
Had an
had
email.
Sally's information
Right.
because she is the one that wrote the letter.
Okay.
We helped her mail them out. So
Yeah.
that's why they're not coming to my attention. But again, anything she is forwarding on to us. So we're trying to work through as quickly as we can.
Yeah,
I
I
think
was
a
just
good-
curious if there was a backup plan to try to reach some of these
I think
landlords.
we haven't worked out all the details of the processes, but I think a good way to follow up is to rerun the same report that captured these defaulted licenses in the first place, run it again. Because personally, I've been processing a lot of these. I've handled a lot of these requests that sound something like, hey, we sent in a check for $2,000 for all of the properties that we operate in the borough. Can you check? And we ran through that, and I went through a major property owner's 79 units and affirmed all of those and converted a lot of those from expired licenses that were in expired status to valid and issued. And of course, it gave me an opportunity to poke that landlord a couple times and say, you haven't submitted a tenant landlord form, so technically I can't make this valid. Please send it in. And we got it all worked out with those 23, 24 properties. So I want to run this routine again, pull the list out. And I think at some point the list gets small enough that we can give it individualized attention, meaning we can pull up a contact resource list in SmartGov. And for many of these property owners, the ones who have gone through our online portal and registered to get their license, we have their email address, we have their phone number, so we have multiple ways to get a hold of them. And I think we can straighten this out quicker, especially because we have a new staff member starting on next Tuesday as well, who's going to be solely devoted to rental licensing and combing through these records and trained up in the bits of information that have to be present for a valid record.
Thank you. Very thorough response. That answers my question.
If we could move over to page 17, please. Looking at the budget to actual results for the enterprise funds, both parking and wastewater posted a positive net income for the month. Wastewater 234,533 and parking 68,990. There's nothing of great interest on the wastewater side. One thing I did want to point out under parking, with the new parking management company that came on board in January, I expected way more parking revenue to be booked than what we received. We only booked 70K in parking revenue. And in talking with Ramsey, I know that there's an issue with some of the transient parking that the former parking company took over, and we haven't gotten that yet. So we have that coming in, as well as we have not received our money for December. So we are a little bit backlogged on parking garage revenue. I am hopeful that it'll come in better, but it was just a little bit under what I was expecting for the month of January. But, we do have answers as to why it's not what we thought it would be.
So February, it's going to be this nice big number
Yeah,
that
February's
you'd
going
be
to
like,
be awesome. That's what I have for the financial report for February.
Thank you. Are there any public comment? Any further comment? All right, let's move to old business. Approve the January 2025 meeting minutes. Any objection?
No.
New business, motion to certify the 2025 qualifying volunteers And Barb, if you want to refresh everyone's memory of what this is for.
Ordinance 13-2023, on or before January 15th of each year, the fire chief is required to send the certified list of volunteers that meet the qualifications for the real estate tax credit. Council must certify these qualifying volunteers by March 1st in order for them to receive the credit. This year, we have 13 volunteers from the fire company that have met all of the requirements to obtain this credit. And the total amount that we will be paying out for this is $11,080.92.
Thank you. Any comment? Public comment? We could approve of that 3-0. Item B, motion to approve the 2025 modification. We're going to table that to the work session next Tuesday. Item C, discuss Christmas parade invoice, Greater Westchester Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. Everybody can hear me okay? Good evening, members of the Finance Committee, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight on behalf of the Greater Westchester Chamber of Commerce. My name is Katie Walker. I'm the president of the chamber. Also, just wanted to recognize joining me tonight is the chairman of my board, John Sirach, and the vice chairman of my board, Matt Tucker. The chamber is here to respectfully request your consideration in recommending to council a 50% reduction in the invoice from the borough for the services related to the 2024 Westchester Christmas Parade. The request is based on reductions granted since 2022 and the unexpected financial burden resulting from council's decision in October 2024 to update special event fees and eliminate previously approved reductions. Just wanted to give a little bit of background as well. The chamber has over a 40-year history of investing in Westchester Borough's holiday season. When the pandemic forced the cancellations of events in 2020, the chamber worked with small businesses to fund and install professional lighting decor throughout the borough, an effort that has since grown to include Gay and Market Streets, High Street, Church Street, and Walnut Street. This year, we extended the decorations to an additional block on Market Street. This initiative alone cost over $40,000 annually, all funded by the chamber to benefit the residents, businesses, and visitors here to the borough. In 2022, understanding the financial challenges of bringing back the parade after 2 years of cancellations, the chamber requested Borough Council support in the form of a 50% reduction on borough services for the parade. At that time, invoices from pre-pandemic parades averaged around $15,000. Council granted the reduction in 2022 and again in 2023, bringing the invoice down to around $5,000 each year. We think it's important to note that the Chamber's commitment to the Westchester Holiday Program extends far beyond the parade. We now coordinate 5 weekends of holiday events that draw visitors to our restaurants, retailers, and galleries, creating a significant economic boost. The Christmas parade alone is a beloved community tradition that requires substantial investment from the Chamber, not just in staff time and logistics, but also in key parade elements that are paid to be part of the parade, such as the South Philly String Band and the cold air balloons that were featured in the 2024 parade. While council began discussions in summer of 2024 about adjusting special event fees, the final vote to eliminate the 50% reduction came in October, just 1 month before the installation of the holiday lights and less than 2 months before the parade. This left the chamber without the necessary time to adjust our budget. Had we known earlier, we could have made different financial decisions, such as not adding additional light decor or reducing paid parade elements. As a result, the chamber received the 2024 invoice totaling $17,998, with only a $1,300 reduction from parking revenue, bringing the final amount due to $16,668, more than triple the cost that had been budgeted based on the past 2 years. We are asking the Finance Committee to support and recommend a 50% reduction in the 2024 parade invoice. This request is not about avoiding responsibility for event cost, but rather a recognition that the timing of council's decision placed an unforeseen burden on our organization. A reduction would allow the chamber to maintain the level of holiday programming that benefits the entire community while adjusting to the new financial reality moving forward. The chamber is proud of the work that we do to make the borough of Westchester a destination during the holiday season. We see this as a partnership between our organization and the borough, one that brings vibrancy, economic activity, and community pride to Westchester. We hope you will consider our request with this partnership in mind.
Any comments?
Well, I thank you for your full description. I'd heard some about this request. I don't think I understood or I'd learned of the full flavor of it and the whys behind it and the go for it. I mean, it sounds like in a nutshell, you were expecting the same as 2023. We got to October, which is like a month and a half before, or not like a month before the parade or whatever. We changed everything and then it was different. It wasn't like you had all year to plan differently. You had pretty much everything planned by then. And so your ask is just for 2024 with full understanding that you will be invoiced the new fees for 2025.
Yeah, that's the request tonight. I mean, we, of course, would be open to conversations with council about a partnership moving forward that could help us to reduce the invoice. But tonight specifically, we're asking for consideration for a reduction in the invoice from 2024 for the exact reasons that you're stating.
Yeah, I understand the ask. It's pretty clear. Going from somewhere around 5K to more than $16,000 is a little bit of a shocker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think when we adjusted the event fees, we were intending to, the goal wasn't to create hardships or do any harm to any of the events that we're doing. We were trying to make it more fair
Right.
and more transparent. In the past, we had put in some fee waivers or parking. We would co-op on parking.
Right.
The purpose of the fee, again, it was around transparency.
Mm-hmm.
We ran some scenarios. We didn't run it for the Christmas parade.
Right.
We probably would have taken a second, third, fourth look at it if we had done a side-by-side on the Christmas
Well,
parade.
I don't think we knew the parade was like an outlier. It sounds like this 50% off for the parade is like a bit of an outlier versus how we handle, or these past 2 COVID years even. Because
Right.
pre-COVID, you were paying the $15,000, right? So
Right. And when
this
we
was just
came to council,
kind of like Porch Fest.
yeah, and when we came to council in 2022, the chamber and John and Matt were both on the board at that point. We were not sure if we were going to bring the parade back because of the cost. So one of the asks that we made to the borough was that there would be a partnership consideration, and that was what was granted. So and I think the other piece too that probably hurt us a bit this year is that the parking revenue that I mentioned, it was reduced. Year prior, it was $20. I know that council made a decision for special events to be $10 for parking in the garages. We were getting 100% of that parking revenue in the past 2 years. That was reduced to 50%. But I also think of, nobody's fault here at all. We're also dealing with a Friday event as compared to maybe looking at like the Christmas market that happens on a Saturday. So we have a lot of people coming into town that are using parking passes in the morning because they're working in the borough. So, and I don't believe we started charging the $10 fee in 2024 until like 4:00. So people may have come in a little bit earlier, they left a little bit later, and they didn't end up paying that fee. So we also did not see as much of a reduction in the bill as well from any parking revenue. So that may be something that, we talk about moving forward for the parade of how we potentially charge for parking to help offset some of that cost.
I was just going to say before, and I'll let you go, Mr. Metric, I'm fully supportive of reducing the cost at 50%, and that we probably should look at the parking for this particular event only. I do think it is a moneymaker, and we should probably look at maybe when that parking takes place, maybe earlier in the day rather than at 4 p.m.
thought of a question, and I've had so many opportunities to ask it of you, and here I am in a public meeting asking it. But what's the bottom line cost to the chamber to put on the Christmas parade all in?
All in between I've had conversations too with people about like, how do we separate out the lights that we put up in the Christmas parade? And it's really difficult for us to do that because the fundraising that we do is around all of it. The lights don't happen without the parade. The parade doesn't happen without the lights. So that has to be kind of factored into the whole thing. But if you consider actual hard costs of putting on the parade, actual hard costs, and then staffing costs and logistics for the entire event, it's probably close to $170,000 that we're spending to bring this program to Westchester for the entire month of December.
Thank you. Any further comment? Public comment? All right, seeing none, 3-0 decision.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to, I'm for the 2024. I agree that the parking and if, you know, I'm not, like, whatever we do for 2025, I think still needs to be just a discussion. So I just want to
Yeah,
make sure
yeah,
that
that's ongoing. And that,
We need a discussion because I don't think that.
The lights typically go up around mid-November and they stay up until mid-January. Yeah. And I'm happy to, to come back and talk with council about how we can continue to work through that and come up with ideas.
I think
So-
that would be good.
Yeah.
I think that works.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Kate. Appreciate it. All right, let's move on. Motion to approve the following purchase requests here. I'm going to read them off, and if there's any questions, let me know or let us know. Pannoni, $156,500. That's engineering services at Goose Creek for upgrades. Civic Plus, $12,283.74. Network hosting for Westchester.com. Eastern Salt, $17,982.60. 2 invoices for salt purchase. EM Cuts, $57,210. That's a litter dump truck for the Public Works Department. Oregon Tree Experts, $13,460. That's work performed from 121 to 129, 2025. That's looks like preemptive and systemic pruning. Iron Rose K9, $14,000. That's the police K9 training for explosives. Univar, $13,155.25. Soda ash at Taylor Run. Usalco, $12,540. Phosphorus removal. And CDW, $23,750. That's for the Barracuda Threat Protection Software Program. Barb?
I just have 2 corrections. I was going through these purchase orders today and there was a few numbers that didn't roll up right. The PO for CDW should be 27,375, not 23,750. And then the one for EM Cuts should be 57,201, not 57,210.
Thank you, Barb, for the corrections. Any comment, public? Any public comment? Seeing none, those purchases have been approved. Any other business? Seeing none, the meeting is adjourned at 5:54 p.m.